just to be sure. Looks like it's also for 60-mile-an-hour winds and 1-inch hail or quarter-sized hail. So we will continue to have that threat for us as we work into this evening. If you're in any of these boxes, especially in portions of this tornado warning, you can't risk it here. We want you down in your safe space. Monticello is included in that, but the storm is just now starting to try to cross into Wayne County. So what we're going to do is we're going to take just a short break here and keep an eye on the updates on that as it comes in, seeing as how it's kind of out on the fringe of our viewing area, as well as it's heading over a highly trafficked area, of course, for tourism, but what we're going to see down there as it continues to progress into Wayne County. We're going to come back in as it gets a little bit closer to maybe the Monticello area and give it a couple of minutes as we watch the rest of these cells and storms. And we'll cut back in as we need to here. Probably put this next cut in closer to about 5:30, 5:35. We'll be back with you with an update on all of these storms. If you're in any of these boxes, please get into your safe space and stand by. We'll have more information in just a bit.
We now return to our regularly scheduled program. From Fox 56 News, the Weather Authority, this is a severe weather alert.
All right, we're coming back in because we've got a tornado warning in place for parts of Wayne County here this evening, and it also has a $50 size hail tag on it too. So we've got a rather nasty storm to keep an eye on there in southern parts of the state. Lots of flashing boxes ongoing for us here. We're going to break each one down, but I do want to get in over the Wayne County one as soon as possible, and we are going to hold this one until this warning goes out because it is a pretty nasty looking storm and it has the potential of bringing some serious stuff. 5:45 p.m. this tornado warning is in effect until, and it is heading towards Monticello at this time. I'm going to try to get you a look at the velocity here so we can see where the rotation is, and it's kind of, again, like we mentioned before, it's in the middle of 3 different radar scenes, so it's not going to get the clearest picture, and so we're getting some broad rotation showing up here right now, and we're going to want to stick with that as we get a little bit closer here, trying to figure out exactly where this is going to be lining up. It does look like the rotation here, while albeit broad, is kind of going in this general direction, just to the west of Monticello at this time. Again, not a very tight scene for us here, so we are going to be seeing some weak rotation with that. If it tightens up a little bit, might even be more cause for concern. But right now, it's still a tornado warning. And Monticello, you are inside of that box, so be prepared here as we go through it. You need to be down in your safe space. This is just south of Jamestown for us there, which is in parts of Russell County this evening. They are in a tornado warning in the far southern portions of the state, of that county, and we're going to continue to see them also need to be prepared for that. In fact, as we talk about it, they have updated that warning box now. And again, yeah, the rotation is right here for us over parts of the Cumberland Lake, and we'll continue to have to watch how that rolls through as we get closer. So Monticello, you need to be down. This is going to be the most severe storm we've got, the most dangerous storm on the map at this time because we do have that rotation. And again, it's at $50 sized hail on it too as it continues to work in. Even outside of that tornado warning, the rest of the Wayne County there is in a severe thunderstorm warning until 5:45 p.m. And we'll have to continue to see how that maps out for us. I am going to briefly just check on some more of the details here. I've got the National Weather Service. I'm able to track what they're talking about on my phone. So bear with me as I try to figure out any of the new information coming in as they discuss this. There is rotation coming out. That's what we've been seeing here on the radar, which is noted, and it looks like they'll continue with that as we get into the next couple of minutes. So this warning is going to hold on for us here until 5:45 p.m. I am going to see if I can turn on a couple other pieces of our radar so you can get a look at how this is going to play out for us. Typically, we'll be able to see some rotation in this storm with some of the products that we have here on our Barron system, and it does look like we have that cell popping up right here. Now here's something that we try to look at as we move towards it. This general northeast direction, this is saying at about 47 miles an hour, so it might be gaining a little bit of speed, but we have this thing called the BTI. This kind of is a number that we use to try to signify how good the rotation is. And in this instance, 2.8 is not very good. We would need that to be closer to a 6 or a 7 before we start thinking about any kind of tornadic activity on the ground or even some funnel-like activity. So that's the good news inside that cell right now. While it is a tornado-warned storm, there is some broad rotation. I don't think that we have anything on the ground at this point. There's no confirmation of any of that. It is all just radar indicated. While we take a short break from that cell, we're going to move to the other ones. It looks like right now we just have 2 other warnings that we're keeping an eye on here. That cell that was moving through parts of Laurel, Knox, and Knox County, that cell has since been let to expire. And so we'll continue to see with that one just some 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds weakening over the course of the rest of that cell. 5:45 p.m. for parts of Rockcastle County as well as portions of Jackson County. This is the cell that's producing 60-mile-an-hour winds and 1-inch hail, and that will continue to be something that we'll keep an eye on too. It does look like they are going to put another warning box out for parts of Clay, Knox, and Laurel County. It might not be popping up quite yet, and as we speak, there it goes. This one again for 1.5-inch hail. That is a very large hail for us here. Cause for concern for you this evening. You'll want to get indoors and into your safe space while this storm comes in. It's also 60-mile-an-hour winds. Moving to the northeast at 40 miles an hour. That 1.5 rating is actually ping pong ball sized hail, and it's radar indicated at this time. So we've got large hail, we've got some rotational activity going on, we've got some 60-mile-an-hour straight line winds and a general east to northeast direction with each of these cells as we go through it, continuing to push most of these isolated cells in southern parts of Kentucky. Again, just to reiterate, we do have a watch in play for us tonight until 8 p.m. It has been extended further to include places like Rowan, Elliott, Morgan, Magoffin, and most of our eastern counties here in Kentucky. The general theme overall is that the environment has become favorable enough to hold these storms in play, and so we'll want to continue to watch how they pan out for us as we go into the rest of this evening. And again, we are holding on to this because we do have a tornado warning in place for us in parts of Wayne County, and it is heading right towards Monticello. So we checked in on the other 3. Corbin, you are just on the outside, of course, of the strongest hail. And again, looking at the potential for ping pong ball sized hail just to the east of Corbin and north of Barberville. That's the other super strong storm that we've got on the map at this time. But the tornado warning is where we want to turn our focus back to once again. It is inching right towards the edge of Monticello and will continue to work to the east at that 45-mile-an-hour rating. We wait for each scan to come in. The dark purples that we have here are showing us where we have a lot of the best potential for the large hail with this. And again, it's at $half size on the last check that I had on that cell. So we want to flip it back over and see if we can get that rotational reading and see how things are going. Okay, so the edge of Monticello right now, we've got that broad rotation. It's not tight, what we would like to call a couplet. It's not showing up in a very small area like this. What it's more so doing is it's got the greens, which are going toward the radar this way, the reds going away like that, and so we've got sort of this broad rotation. You've also got some towards here, so this could be the entire storm sort of having a rotation to it, and in the updraft we're getting those readings coming out of the cell that prompted that tornado warning. So we continue to watch as that takes place for us here into this evening and see how that rolls out. Monticello, you guys need to get down. That storm is strong right now and will continue to work in. We've got scattered activity everywhere else, and we're really, again, just holding on to this until we can get a good glimpse of that warning box coming out. Now, it is getting close to the edge of that box, so they may either extend it and cancel that tornado warning or keep it going further to the east, maybe even out to the edge of this box. So even past Monticello and maybe starting to get into southern parts of Pulaski County, we may need to take a look at this. You know what I want to do? I'm going to flip over here and see if we can't get this video, this cell on our Somerset camera. I'm going to go try to move this for us here and see how that looks this evening and see if we can't get a good glimpse of where that cell is coming in. So bear with me as we try to pull this up for you here. And I will flip that around and see where we are. So expect the camera to start moving here, and hopefully we can get a good look at this storm. That looks like the edge of the storm there On the bottom right of your screen, that could be that front edge of the storm coming in, kind of like a little shelf cloud there as it rolls through. And that would be the bottom edge and the back edge of the storm there. I don't see any rotation on this, which is a good sign for the most part. But again, that cell is pretty far away from our camera there in Somerset. So good little visual for us here to keep an eye on how things are rolling in. Again, we're just holding on while we see that severe thunderstorm warning and that tornado warning in play for us. It goes until 5:45, but it is at the end of its box. So we'll see what they end up doing here in the next couple of minutes. They should open that up for us. So if you are on Monticello or anywhere in Wayne County, even southern parts of Pulaski County, you're going to want to go ahead and get into your safe space. This is a strong storm working your direction as we continue to watch for updates on the rest of these cells as they come through. A lot of activity out there for us across southern Kentucky tonight. We've got about 10 minutes before that tornado warning expires. Still looking pretty strong in the Rock Castle area. I know that we're going through this over and over a little bit, but we're going to keep bouncing around to each storm here for you until that warning expires. As we continue to watch this one here north of Livingston in northern parts of Rock Castle County till 5:45 p.m., starting to work into Jackson County as well, just to the west of McKee and Sand Gap. We're going to see that strong storm, 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. This one's looking pretty gnarly still down here in southern portions of Laurel County as well as northern portions of Knox County. I actually want to see if we can't get a 3D reference of this here as we look at it. Look at the height on this thing. You see how dense that is in the middle? What these are the updraft cores, and this is where hail sits. It continues to be pushed up by the updraft, and the depth of this is pretty impressive. We're probably looking at 30, 40,000 feet. Yeah, if I get this leveled out right. Maybe even 50,000 feet of height on this thing as we continue to see that updraft go, and that's why it has such a high rating for hail at this time. It's a pretty cool little feature that we've got here on the map. Let's get back over to radar and see if we can't pull this thing together for us as we roll into the rest of this evening. Looking one more time at the rest of these other storms, it does look like that cell there in the Corbin area outside of Knox and Laurel is until 6 p.m. We've got one more way out in Leslie County and portions of Harlan County until 5:45, and we're still right on the edge of this other cell that's near the Monticello area in Wayne County. The core itself looks really impressive. It's the velocity reading that is right over Monticello now where the best rotation would be. So looking closely at this, again, we've got the green going toward the radar, the red going away, and we've got the broad rotation right over Monticello at this time. Looking up some other information here to see how things are going. The latest scan coming in, still pretty messy. And so not the tightest rotation, not the best, and it's about to exit that box, but it is still right over Monticello. You could be experiencing some super heavy rainfall, torrential in some spots. You could be getting a little bit of the frequent lightning and some of those straight line winds even popping down. That is a good possibility for us here as we roll into the rest of this warning itself. It does look like they are trying to make a decision on where they're going to put this box next. I would imagine that they're going to let the tornado warning itself expire, and we'll keep the severe thunderstorm warning on there for us as we move into the next half hour or so. 7 minutes left on that warning there in Wayne County for the tornado at this time. The other one's still hanging tight. So what we'll continue to do is we're going to just sit here and watch it together as we continue to get the next scan. They come in every couple of minutes, and this is really for the folks there to keep them informed so that if there is any kind of activity coming out of this spinning that we're seeing, we can at least be there for them as they pop up. I know that we've got some programming on, but we are getting close to the news hours here, and we're going to continue to stick with this as we go through. The rest of the activity for us here, again, has some large hail and such, but this is really where we want to focus our attention as we wait the next couple of minutes. It looks like they are going to extend it out, which means that that rotation is something that we really got to hold on to. And so we're going to sit here with it as we continue to go through. Again, it's not just the tornado warning that's the big thing here. We've also got some pretty large hail. According to this, $half sized hail is still in play for us. And I'm sitting down at the computer now so I can get a better glimpse of what's going on with this storm. It's a little easier for me to draw on here. And now if we look at the hail core, we're looking at 25,000 feet at the center of this thing. That's where these purples are coming up. 30,000 feet is there. And it bopped out on me, so I'm going to fix that up for you too. But we've got a thick core coming in with this, and the higher that core is, the stronger the hail will be as well. So we're battling a couple different elements here, and likely some very heavy rain too. Don't go outside and try to look at this if you're down in this area because it will likely be covered in rain. You're not going to be able to spot any of the spinning within this storm because it's going to be rain wrapped. It's going to be towards the middle of it where the updraft is spinning. There's large hail to deal with too. You really got to get down. We're talking about even parts of Somerset now included in this warning box as this storm continues to push out to the northeast and hold on pretty tight. Radar indicated rotation at this time. This warning now until 6:15 p.m. and it does include Pulaski County as well as the rest of Wayne County. And it's moving to the northeast at 45 miles an hour. So this would be a good time to throw a tracker on it. Let me get over there and show you what we're looking at for timing on this. Again, the rotation's kind of like right in the middle of this thing. And so we're going to put the tracker on the whole storm. What you can see is we've got a little notch on the backside here. We've got a heavy core here. So the updraft, and this is the fun part about some storms, the updraft is likely coming in on this side and going up into the storm, and it's likely catching some kind of spinning in the mid-levels to cause the whole thing to sort of rotate a bit, and that's why we're likely keeping all of this activity together. It's really holding strong, likely a supercellular storm here overall, and it's moving to the northeast. So let's put the tracker on there. Again, it's moving about 45 miles an hour to the northeast, and that's not quite it. So pause, reset, and we'll try to get this going for you here. You know how technology can be. Pushing it out way past the warning box. But here's what we're looking at. 5:53 p.m. into the Burnside area. If it does make it as far as London, it's not going to be there for another 45 minutes. The warning obviously not extending out that far, but it does include parts of southern Somerset. Let me just try this one more time. Maybe I can compass the whole box and move it to the northeast. Maybe that will give us a better look here. There you go. Now we get a little bit closer to the Ferguson-Somerset area, 5:57. So you've got 15 minutes left before this cell makes it there, but you've got plenty of time to get to your safe space. And I would like to really warn you here, if they're holding on to the tornado warning this long, that means that we've got good rotation within the storm, and we don't have a great visual on it with how we're in between all of the different radar scenes. So we're going to want to get to our safe space from that. Taking just a short break from that storm. We've been talking about it for a minute. Let's go ahead and just get a check on these other warnings that are still in play for us. And again, we're not sending it back because there's a tornado warning in good parts of our viewing area, as all spots are. Somerset is involved in that. Pulaski County, Wayne County, we don't want to leave them without the information. So we're just going to hold on to it for a little while here as it continues to track. But while we do that, we're going to go ahead and cut into these other storms and see how they're doing. A little tail on the end of this one too. Really now moving into just mainly parts of Jackson County. Livingston, you still might catch a little wind on the backside of that, so just hang tight in your safe space there. Not fully time to get out. There they've extended it, so pretty good timing checking in on this. Mount Vernon, you're probably in the clear from this tornado, from this severe thunderstorm warning. We are going to see that one expire here in the next 2 minutes, but the new one has been extended. So let's get a look at this one here until 6:15 p.m. for the rest of Jackson County. It does include portions of Owsley County and Lee County here this evening, and the very far northern part of Clay County included in that as well. Again, the general storm direction for us has been about 40 to 45 miles an hour as they've been gaining speed, as they've been gaining strength. So we'll just throw a tracker on this one too and see how it's going here. Compass the whole thing, see how far out we can get. See if we can get it to 45, pretty close, right about there. And we're talking about it getting to places like McKee. I'd put Anvil in there too, right around 5:51. So you've got about 7 minutes. Get down into your safe space. This one's packing quite a bit of hail with it and some heavy rainfall. It's got a good little core there. There might even be a little bit of rotation within it too. that we want to look at. No tornado warnings with this one, of course, but we want to just peek at it one time and see how it's going. The velocity reading not showing a lot, but this is where we likely see some of the strongest winds that we'll want to watch out for. 60+ miles an hour in there. You can see as that last scan came through that it popped up some new little spots. But the lighter the colors from this side, this scene, the faster the winds. So we're likely going to be seeing within that some of those stronger wind gusts. Let's see if we can't get a reading on it too. That's within the storm, 35 miles an hour up in the cloud. But if that gets moving, then we're going to be seeing it, momentum, bring it to the surface just a little bit stronger than that. All right, let's keep running through these here as we go on, and we've got that storm, which has got a nice edge to it. I bet that has a nice little shelf to it as it rolls in. McKee, Anvil, Sand Gap, get down. Everybody inside of that box. Now's the time to get to your safe space. Another check of this storm that's now in Clay County, working its way into far eastern Laurel County until 6 p.m. So another about 15 minutes or so. We've got this severe thunderstorm warning in play. 60-mile-an-hour winds, and this one had the golf ball sized hail tag on it earlier, and we're likely seeing ping pong ball sized hail still possible within that. So damage is going to be possible for us on our cars or anything that's left outside. You want to be inside. You don't want to be dealing with that. So make sure you get into your safe space. Manchester just outside of that. London and Corbin, you're also just outside of it. It's really just kind of south of that Hal Rogers Parkway that we're seeing the strongest remnants of that storm continue through. All right, back over to the severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warning we have now trying to work its way past Monticello and further into portions of Wayne County. This one again for another half hour or so. It does include parts of Pulaski County and southern Pulaski County, just south of Somerset. Maybe we'll go back and get a look of this on our tower camera and see if we have any better visual of it as it comes in. It's kind of a wall of rain at this point that we can see, which means that if there is rotation and we do have that storm producing any kind of tornadic activity, well, then we're going to just have to take cover now. You're not going to be able to see this even if we could. The rain, even if there is a tornado, the rain is covering that. Here's the edge. You can kind of see it where the rain shaft is on there too. That's kind of a cool look for us, but we can't see anything else. So this doesn't really help us in identifying what's going on. Heavy rain coming down. I mean, a clear distinction between where it is and isn't raining. And this whole system here, this whole darkness of cloud is that storm coming through. So that's what we're keeping an eye on. And again, we've got tornado warning in play, so we don't want to let this one go. Hey, look at that. Actually, just on the top, they canceled it. Looks like that rotation probably weakened enough where we don't need to check in, or we don't need to have that tornado warning in play. Let me just get one more look at this here from the right side, just in case they decide they're going to do something different. It looks like for the most part that rotation has weakened quite a bit, enough where that's pretty broad. They don't have any reports, so they're probably putting that one away for now. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break because we've been on here for long enough tracking those tornado warnings and the severe thunderstorm warnings. Seriously though, the rest of these boxes that we've covered up and down here the past half hour or so, you got to be in your safe space because we got some pretty big hail. 60-mile-an-hour winds is still nothing to laugh at, and we had that tornado warning now canceled. We're going to probably see more activity through the evening. We've got to watch until 8 p.m. I'll be right here tracking them for you, and I will cut in if we get any more of those warnings popping up. For now, Justin Esterly, Fox 56 Weather Authority, sending it back.
We now return to our regularly scheduled program.